Making sure the audio's working. Okay, it is. How's everybody doing? Good? Doing good? Well, the Cubs lost one last night that was a heartbreaker. They were down 5-0, and then they went up like 12 or 13 to 5. I don't know. It was really dumb. They were down by a lot, then they were up by a lot, and then they lost. So, yeah. Let's see. Although Yu Darvish, yeah, let's do Yu Darvish. Kyle Hendricks pitched so little yesterday, where he could theoretically start. I might start him next game, but Yu Darvish is ready to go, so let's do that. Zach Davies is right-handed. We'll put this. We'll have Victor. We'll take out Victor Caratini, or we'll put in Victor Caratini for Javier Baez, as Javier Baez, or not Javier Baez. Wilson Contreras is being a little. His energy levels are low. I've been liking Albert Almora Jr. lately. Yeah, let's put him there. Jason Kipnis has done okay too. And Ian Happ's energy isn't super low, and he's been doing okay. But I like maybe having him as I'm assuming he'd be the first person off the bench. Yeah, let's do that. Here comes the cup. Sorry, I'm texting my friends. Zach Davies is looking pretty good.
Leading off tonight for the Cubs,
Chris Bryant. He's who's been leading off for the Cubs, because that's who they said they were going to use, and he's done a pretty good job. I mean, his numbers are good in most spots, but hits right into the slip.
Got it second. The first baseman, number 44, Anthony Rizzo.
All right, Anthony Rizzo against Zach Davies, 1 out after Bryant hit a good one up the middle, but right into the ship. 5 years ago, it would have just been a hit. Just would have been a hit.
That's ball two.
Oh, fouls it off. Just talking to my friend Scott here. I hope everyone's doing good today. I'm going to be having the trivia on this about 4 hours and 23 minutes. I'll get on beforehand to make sure it's working okay and stuff. Whew. Strike 3.
Batting third, the left fielder, Kyle Schwarber.
Nope, that's inside.
Kyle Schwarber, he's on fire lately. He had a fire insignia next to his name, so maybe that means he'll hit a home run. Or pop up really high.
Leading up for the Padres, the center fielder, Juan.
All right, Juan Lagares against you, Darvish. Home run, right away. It's funny, I had a bitter taste in my mouth right when I was drinking it. That home run, how I look is how I feel right now after that home run. No, I don't like that. This feel better. So, why not? Well, that really takes the wind out of your dick. I like mixing the wind out of your sails and putting the dick. As a metaphor. Greg Garcia's on.
Outside, that's the ball.
I thought we were just called Gerald earlier today.
Nope, right.
Scooby-Doo. Dry, Wolf. Poor Gerald.
That's out. I got 3 and 2.
I feel like it's not as loud. Yeah, the phone doesn't sound as loud. Wait. There it is. How you doing?
Eh,
Did you just call me Spangler?
yes, I did.
Right.
Because that's your name. Why?
I always
I
forget if it's is that Egon Spangler? Or is it Ray Spangler?
I think it's Egon.
Okay, I'd rather be Egon, so that's good.
Spangler.
I always forget, what's Ray's last name?
Batting fourth, the third baseman, Patty.
It is Egon Spangler. It is, that sounds right. But what's Ray's last name? Because it's Peter Venkman, Egon Spangler, Ernie Hudson. And I forget what his full name is, too.
Let's see here. Stance.
It's Ray Stantz.
Yes.
And what's Ernie Hudson's name? Why can't I think of Ernie Hudson's name in that?
Winston Sedmore.
Winston, yeah. Winston
Sedmore.
Sedmore? Zedmore, yeah. Yeah, that is oof. Spangler, Do, Ray, Egon. I have a Ghostbusters comic book, and I'm actually kind of impressed with the writing in it. Have you read any of the Ghostbusters comic books?
I have not.
Like, the person who wrote the Bill Murray character is, like, dead, like, it's dead on. Like, it's dead, it's almost more Bill Murray than it is, Venkman. But Bill Murray is just Venkman, so, yeah.
I keep wanting to watch the cartoon. It was on Netflix. I don't know if it still is.
Which one?
The real Ghostbusters.
Okay. Where the one where Harold Ramis becomes a Aryan race person. I've always wondered what he thought, what Harold Ramis thought of that specifically. Like, he was just like, what? Like, or if he was happy that it didn't look like him.
I remember there was a line in one of the episodes where, like, they get slimed.
Yeah.
And then Venkman says,
"What's up, Troy?
Well, I've been to some parties that ended like this."
Yeah.
It's a cum show.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it's one of those things where you could have, there's like a bunch of things it could be, but it's like making it sound like you got jizz on you. Some weird sex party stuff. Although, yeah, old Venkman. I'm sure I've talked at length about Harold Ramis, about how much I like Harold Ramis to you. I don't know if I have, actually. But I think he's the most underrated, like, comedic writer-director that exists.
Is that why you're writing that musical, Ray Miss Sarah?
Yeah, there's a song in it that goes, Ray Miss Sarah, Sarah. Ray Miss Sarah, Sarah, he'll make multiplicity.
I feel like that Ernie Hudson has aged so much better than anyone else in that movie.
Yeah, well, black don't crack, man. That's a thing.
Did you ever watch Oz?
No, I never watched Oz.
It's alright. It's interesting. And you get to see a lot of J.K. Simmons, since he's one of the main characters.
J.K. Simmons? Is he like, I want pictures of Spider-Man to masturbate to in my cell?
He does a lot more than masturbate in that show, I'll tell you.
Yeah, is he an Aryan leader? Probably with those blue eyes. I fail to believe you could cast him as anything that's not an Aryan leader.
Yep, it's a weird show.
Yeah.
Or rape.
Yeah, well, it's man prison.
Yeah. There's even to the point of being like a joke. Like there's this character who's like a mobster, but he's kind of a wuss. Like he's only important because he's in like the right family.
Yeah.
And so he keeps trying to kill people, and then he keeps failing and getting raped by the person he was trying to kill.
Really?
And it becomes like
So it's like a gag?
It's a gag that he keeps getting raped. Like they're
I don't think that would fly now. Or well, I don't know. That's
it's HBO. They can get away with a lot, right?
That's fair. That's fair. I did like the things where it was making fun of neoliberals, where it was like neoliberals getting more offended by Sansa's rape in Game of Thrones than the sexual assault allegations against Joe Biden.
Yeah, it's crazy that it's come down to two rapists.
Yeah,
basically.
yeah, and at least if one, if not both, have some form of dementia, and one's been rumored to have syphilis brain.
Although, here's what I'll say. I think this is just the first time we've known about it. I'm pretty sure
are you kidding me?
Most of the elections were between two rapists.
Bill Clinton, that's what blows. He's been accused of rape a bunch, like a decent amount of times, and the stories are similar in kind of how in the way he goes about it. And Hillary's been implicated in being like knowledgeable / trying to silence the victims at times.
Yeah, they may have they may be like in House of Cards, how they are married, but they don't really care that much. Like it's a marriage of convenience rather than of so they don't care. Their marital stuff.
It was one of Bill's Secret Service guys wrote a book, and he was talking about how, because Bill would just always have like women over, like affairs. And the one guy the Secret Service guy was talking about how he had like his favorite mistress that would like bring the Secret Service guys cookies and stuff. And then he talked about another time where Bill had a black eye that was like, and this totally makes sense, is Bill fucking other women and then Hillary getting mad and like punching him in the face. Because he said that Bill had like an honest to goodness like black eye shiner that they assumed it was Hillary like punching him about something like that. And then the one time he said that Hillary crossed the line was supposedly she threw a book at him, literally like a book at the Secret Service agent. And the Secret Service agent is like, no, you can't do that. Like, I'm here to protect you, but you can't like physically abuse the people here.
I can't take a bullet for you if I'm the one firing the bullet.
Or if you're the one firing the bullet at me. Yeah. And I need to look it up again to see how much validity is to it. But it's weird because I've read about it, but I never heard much about it. That's why Drudge Report's so weird, because I won't deny that they have like, especially in the way that they shape how they format the headlines, will make it definitely lean toward the right. But the headline itself, but the article itself often will be more balanced or more like, people like to shit on Drudge Report for being like a conservative thing. I think it's a better aggregate of all sides than any other news site, I feel like.
It's crazy to me now that we have this vice signaling thing, where literally it's just people admitting that they're sociopaths, basically. Like, we don't care if other people die, like, just do whatever. Like vice signaling is the opposite of virtue signaling.
Yeah.
So rather than saying you care about people, don't reopen the economy, they're saying we don't give a fuck about people.
They say,
reopen the economy.
Well, and it's so weird too, because they'll do things like part of their argument will be for things that they already exist that they don't care about now. When people are like, well, people will starve. And I'm like, well, people already, like, there are people starving already, right? You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? Like, you never talk about people starving right now. But that does happen.
It's just, whenever it's something you want, you come up with whatever reason you have available to you.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether or not you actually care about that reason.
Yeah. Or, like, sometimes people are like, people are making more money not working. Like, well, it's like, well, so fucking what? Good for them. for a little bit. And also, because it's like, you can't, it would take too much time to just look at every little minute thing of every single person's situation would take more time
and money.
Yeah, then exactly. Then then just do it. Just send out the things for people, and then if you retroactively,
when people complain about prisons and the privileges that they get, and they're like, no, they should all be in cells eating bread and water, and it's that cuts down on fights so much. When people are bored, it creates so much more trouble, and it costs the state millions in lawsuits and medical bills for those people who get hurt.
Sure.
Just buy them $80 cable.
Yeah.
It's so much cheaper.
You know, are you familiar with the song "The Midnight Special"? The Creedence. You know the Twilight Zone movie, the old one, or the '80s one.
Yes.
You know how at the very end when he's in where he's like Creedence, and that when Lithgow's like Creedence, and that song's playing, "Let the Midnight Special shine its light on me."
Okay, yeah, kind of. Yeah,
okay. But anyway, that song, the Midnight Special, is what they would at prisons. I think it was in the South, but at prisons when they would bring a busload of prostitutes to the prison. So that they could those were the lights, were the Midnight Special, was when they could see the lights from the bus coming, because they used to let prisoners fuck prostitutes every now and then so that they wouldn't kill each other. They were just every now and then, this will help prisoners not be so angry and flip out. So they would get them a busload of prostitutes once a month or whatever.
It's just sometimes you gotta do things to not people are so bad about the cost-benefit analysis, they just can't do it.
Yeah.
It's sometimes you spend a little to save a lot more.
Yeah. Also, though, and for-profit prisons, I think, are the most disgusting thing in the world.
That is, that's a problem.
People shouldn't be literally I understand in theory when they're like, they cut down on costs and blah 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 and this and that, and it's all no, we shouldn't. No one should be trying to make dollars off of. And also, if you're doing if prisoners are doing hard labor stuff, they should get paid a little more, or it should go into some account. If you're taken out of the system for a long time, the labor you do should be paid, not necessarily a huge amount, but enough where when you come out the other end, you maybe have something to start with and try and rebuild your life.
It's
especially if you're digging ditches.
Sucks.
Yeah.
It's we might as well just kill them all because you're just destroying their life anyway.
Yeah.
What are you even doing?
Because that's the fucked up thing about the 13th Amendment is it's slavery is illegal except for when you're in prison. That's literally unless we put you in a prison, at which point slavery is fine.
It's in Veep, there's a character who runs private prisons, and he's always trying to get them to pass harsher laws so that there will be more people.
Yeah,
in
exactly.
He's all right, I'll vote on this bill for you, but then you have to make marijuana more illegal.
Yeah, more. None of that only violent marijuana thing. I want everyone. That's the other thing where it's all non-violent offenders, especially in drug crimes.
Count 1-0.
Because you know what's crazy is, I don't know if it's still federally, marijuana I forget if it goes higher or lower for Schedule, if Schedule 1 is worse than Schedule 3, but marijuana is listed worse than cocaine. So that's what makes it hard for, it makes it harder to do studies on it, because you have to because there's more, since it's a worse schedule drug, that it's harder to get the green light to do studies on it.
Yeah,
isn't that insane? Because marijuana is marijuana, and cocaine can make your heart explode. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
shouldn't say explode, but you know what I mean.
People who die from the cocaine, and then all their money gets passed down to a bunch of others. That's just trickle down.
Yes,
economics.
yes,
The-
yes.
The rich people overdose.
Yes, sure, fair. I mean, don't get me wrong. Yeah, I have mixed feelings about all that biz. Like I'm very jealous of living in the golden age of marijuana. Like 10 years ago, Spencer would be going buck wild in the current. 10 years ago, Spencer probably would have moved to Chicago once they legalized marijuana. Like that would have been like, I'd be like, okay, I'll do comedy now in that state that pot's legal at.
That's, yeah, I mean, I don't know, so, I was wondering, I guess it's interesting, I've never been tempted to do any kind of drugs, just because my mind is always insane as it is.
Yeah, that's fair.
I feel an undeserved amount of joy so often.
Yeah, that's fine then. You don't need, if you don't have any want for it, if you feel good as it is and aren't interested in it, then that's fine. That being said, I certainly you do it. I mean, it literally puts you in a different mindset and a mind state, and it can be interesting. You can make discoveries about how you feel about life or outlook on things. I used to take hallucinogenics in college sometimes, so it was definitely interesting.
Yeah, could be. It's interesting how people say, why don't you drink? You're an alcoholic? And I just want to say, no, I just don't need it.
Yeah.
Like,
And
I don't need it like you do.
And I had friends that were so fucking weird. And, like, I had friends where they were just like, they were weird. They didn't need to fucking get weird with drugs. Like, I was almost, like, happy for them. Where I was like, yeah, you're a fucking weirdo without, like, on just, like, whatever. Like, you don't need to be drunk or take whatever.
Also, definitely there are comics who seem to think that alcohol makes them funnier when it very much does not.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen someone that said, oh, he needs to be more drunk to make that set funnier.
Yeah.
I just see like someone like Donnie where like, oh, he's very funny usually, but now he's so drunk he can't function, and this is a terrible set.
Sure. I will say for the most part, most comedians aren't as funny drunk. I will say there's definitely exceptions to like Nick. I've seen Nick Butler destroy, and all he will remember from his set the next day is that it went good. Like all he'll know is that if it went good or bad, and won't remember a word that he said. But he'll know if he did good.
Nick is an anomaly. He's
Yes.
He's just a charismatic human being.
Yes. For sure.
Nope.
Yeah.
But that's and I will say I when I stopped, I almost felt like I was when I stopped drinking, because for the most part I don't. If I'm doing a real show, I can't remember. If I'm doing a real show, I don't like to have, like, before I get on stage, like, two light beers is, like, the most I like to have before I get on stage, unless I'm there for a really long time, because any more than that, I feel like I lose the sharpness, you know?
Yeah. Man. I remember what day it was, but it might have been, like, after a long holiday where Peter went up. And he was like so drunk that it was like concerning.
Yeah, but he's another one where most of the time when he's on stage, he's fairly drunk, and so. And here's what I will say: you don't second guess yourself as much when you're drunk. So there is a fine line where sometimes you'll roll with an idea, or you'll come up with an idea that you wouldn't necessarily think is funny sober, but then you will just go along with it. But yeah, and like I said, and Peter's another person where, and that's yes, for once or twice that has been a thing with Peter where he even won't say the funny part of the joke. Because there's been once or twice when I'm like, you forgot to say often what I think is I shouldn't say what is the funniest part. Well, it'll be the part that I think is funniest. We'll be like, oh, you forgot, or the wording gets a little off, Because that can be a fine line with how you word a thing.
They're just forgetting parts of your joke.
Yeah. Well, that's like I used to do a fruit by the foot joke, and then I accidentally said fruit roll up, and it because I did a thing about what they call fruit by the foot in Britain, and I say poison. I think it's because of the metric system. But one time I said fruit roll up, and that just totally makes it not a joke anymore. It just makes it confusing for everybody.
And then there's that time where you said edible panties.
Yes.
No one got that.
No, exactly. Because all panties are edible, right? To you. You boil, you boil some water, you throw them in there.
No, not these new synthetic fiber ones. They're not good. You need a cotton.
Did you ever hear of Werner Herzog when he ate his shoe?
Yes, I did.
The stories of that man. Oh my gosh, they're so fantastic. Or like when he was gonna shoot the actor. You've heard that one, right? Where he's like, yeah. And the actor stayed because he was like, I believed him. I knew he'd really do it.
Yeah, some directors are interesting.
Yes. I do feel when people are talking, like I said, there is obviously a limit when directors are like too mean or too or doing things that are like irrational. But there's something to be said for like altering the moods. Like if you want to get a certain performance out of someone and they're not getting it, or they're not in the, you know what I mean, or they're not delivering it.
It's always funny when writers or directors are clearly sneaking in their fetish into, and we find that out a lot in the Me Too movement, where we look at his work and we're like, oh, that was just something they were into.
Yes. Or like, well, Tarantino, the rumor with Tarantino is he literally had a camera that was focused on Uma Thurman's feet for like the whole, like that was a camera's job. And I don't know how many shots he really used of it, but that was a camera's job, was specifically to be focused on, I think it was Uma Thurman's feet. But, yeah, I mean, well, you're right what you know, right? And, I guess. And then also, like, when you're literally given millions of dollars, like, why not try and live out some of your weird fantasies, I guess.
So in this episode, the character loses their shoes, so they have to walk around barefoot for the whole episode. Yeah. And then they go to the canned beans factory where there's been an explosion and there's beans all over.
And they gotta smoosh them beans with their feet. And then they go blow the manager of the beans factory. His name's Minton Quaranzano. Yeah, it's interesting for sure. But like I said, Kubrick wouldn't be getting away with the shit that he used to do to people. Like you know what they did to have you ever heard about the Shelley Duvall Shining story?
Yes.
Where he told all the crew to be mean to her and to not talk to her, and so it fucked her up. For after that, because for 3 months, everyone was just mean to her, and she had no idea why. Or this one's more funny. Have you ever read about the filming of Eyes Wide Shut?
No.
Eyes Wide Shut filmed for 400 days.
He just kept extending it.
Yeah, and Tom Cruise kept being like, can you tell me when we're he was like, I'll do it however long you want me to do it, but can you tell me when we're going to be done? And Kubrick just kept being like, no. And then he would do weird stuff where he wouldn't let Tom be on, all Tom would know is that there was going to be sex scenes with Nicole Kidman, but he wouldn't let him on set. But like, so he would like let Tom know that that Nicole was going to be filming sex scenes. This is when they were really married, for real. And but he wouldn't let him on set. And then there was also one where he did. It was like a minimum of 40 takes, where literally the shot is just Tom Cruise walking into the room. He's not saying. He maybe says he says minimal words, like maybe one or two words. But the shot was just him entering the room, and they took like 40 or 50 takes of it. And that's the thing, is they're literally them taking that long. They're saying like cost. This was the height of Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman being movie stars. So they basically forfeited like tens of millions of dollars each. Jason Hayward knocks a home run and the Cubs take a lead. But so they basically forfeited tens of millions of dollars each because they were just like doing this movie.
That's the price you pay to work with a genius, right?
I guess. Like I said, though,
some directors now that
Lifetime,
would
sorry.
give up some money to go work with, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's a big thing. Woo! Sorry, I'm doing the lamp donger thing. Woo! Right now I have my lamp and I'm spinning it. Woo! Because Jason Hayward here, home run. Woo! Woo! Yeah, that's the donger alarm lamp thing.
That sounds like a screwball college comedy.
Donger lamp?
House.
Donger house?
We gotta close down Donger House.
Phi Kappa Donger House. Yeah, do you know how much Jonah Hill was paid for Wolf of Wall Street?
What?
Yes.
Scale?
I think it turned out to be about $60,000, but that's probably what scale was for that movie. Because you would think scale for a movie that is $100 million would probably be about that when you're like the second lead, right?
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. If it's someone who you respect and you know that it's going to be a good movie,
yeah,
then you probably just go with it.
Especially when you're already like he was already set. You know what I mean? Like at that moment in time, Jonah Hill had already done probably a handful of movies where he was probably already making $1 million a film. So it's like, why wouldn't you just do that to say you'd work for Scorsese? You know?
That's the ball.
Yeah. Who do you think's the best living director?
The best living director?
Yes, living.
Is Bertolucci still alive? That's the pretentious thing for me to say if he's still alive. I don't know if he's still alive. I think he's maybe dead. Yeah, he's been dead. Oh, yeah, he died 2 years ago. This will maybe be controversial, and I haven't even seen one of his most recent movies, but I would say pound for pound, and they're a comedic director, but they're better at making directing artsy for comedy than pretty much any other comedic director. Who do you think I'm going to say with that?
Comedic director?
But
CK.
yes, no. But they're like artsy I should say they're more skilled at directing than most comedic directors are. But almost everything they've done is comedy. But almost all of them are subgenres of comedy. I would say.
Idea.
Edgar Wright.
Oh yeah, Edgar Wright is a great director.
Shaun of the Dead, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, Hot Fuzz, The World's End was fine. I was really excited for it, but I thought it was just fine. I haven't seen Baby Driver. I've heard a lot of mixed things, but
it's great. Baby Driver's great.
I thought I would like it a lot. I don't know why I haven't said it. I would say he's of the post 2000s. I would say pound for pound, directing wise, he's made has been the most consistently. Like I'd say all of his movies are 8s and above. You know what I mean? Like if I were to score them 8 out of 10, he's one of the only people I can think of that's like all. I'd say his worst one is The World's End movie. Did you ever see that?
The World's Yes, I saw that. And even that was fine.
Yes, it was fine. But I love I don't know why I haven't watched Hot Fuzz in a while, because I really like. I've seen Hot Fuzz probably 10 times. I really liked Hot Fuzz.
I could have guessed Clint Eastwood would be such a good director.
Yeah, I mean, I think he just lets stuff. And by the way, I think Gran Torino is so much more funny than people give it credit for.
It's very funny every time he says something racist.
Yes. And I love, and it's one of those weird things where I think people take it at face value too much, where I the point is that, because like my favorite part is when he's like saying racist stuff, but like realizing how well he get, like when he looks in the mirror and he's like, I won't say the words he says, but essentially is like, you relate more to these blanks than you do your own family.
Yeah.
Like,
it's just about a racist old man learning to put away his racism, sort of.
Or just like I said, like he's like oh, like cause, and I like that him and the old lady are like really similar. The old where you. But yeah, I thought the one part that I think is a little absurd is at the very end when he sings the song Gran Torino. That's like too much. It's like it becomes too absurdly funny.
I mean, what do you think about David Lynch?
I like him.
I like David Lynch a lot.
I haven't seen most of his movies, actually, believe it or not.
Have you seen have you seen his the Netflix the monkey film, the short film?
I don't know why I didn't watch it. Where he's like, "You done killed her. We know you killed her."
Tatabon, my love.
I haven't seen it.
It's very funny. Like, I can't stop thinking about it, and it's just so funny. But yeah, he's an interesting director. Where I don't think I'd put him like as the best, but he's maybe the most interesting, just because every film has these very deliberate choices that I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like, I remember I watched Mulholland Drive at like 3 a.m.
Yeah.
And I got done with it, and I was like, boy, I must be really tired because I didn't understand any of that. And then I went online.
And then you watched it, and it was the same. Yeah.
It was the same. No, I didn't understand it. It just didn't make sense. Like, it was just confusing.
Yeah.
Like
that sounds right. I did like Twin Peaks. I didn't watch the new seasons. I don't know why I didn't watch the new season. I heard that the new season was good.
It's great. I like it better than the original Twin Peaks.
The first season of the original Twin Peaks gets really good, and then the second season gets kind of iffy. At times, I feel like.
Yeah, that's because he left the show and they forced him to finish the mystery.
Yeah.
They were never going to reveal who killed Laura Palmer.
Yeah.
They were just never going to do that.
Yeah, they were like, we want to know. And he was like, all right, it's Ray Wise. You done did it, Ray. I do love his, and I can't ever find it, but there is a thing where he's like, a quote where he's like, sometimes I just like to eat cheese and drink Coca-Cola. Like, I also like him very much in the Cleveland show. I remember, because did you watch the Cleveland show?
I've seen some of it.
Okay.
Yes.
He plays the bartender, Gus.
Yes.
I remember when I first heard it, I was like, man, whoever does that does an amazing David Lynch impersonation. And then I saw that it was really him. And they even call him a Racerhead in one episode. They're like, whatever, a Racerhead. But I like Cleveland show.
Oh God, the recent episode. That reminds me of the recent episode of What We Do in the Shadows, where Mark Hamill shows up to challenge one of the vampires to a duel.
Yeah.
And then because he skipped out on like a Airbnb situation without paying, and so that guy runs away, runs to Pennsylvania because it sounds like Transylvania, and that's cool.
Yeah.
And then he takes over a bar. I think his name is Nathan Daytona.
Yeah.
And all he does for his disguise is put a toothpick in his mouth.
Nathan Daytona.
And he's still talks like he's still talking like I'm a regular American Joe.
Does he go, hey, my name is Nathan Daytona?
It's so funny.
That is pretty
Just
funny.
The absurdity of the whole episode.
I like that. I can get behind that.
Oh man, I'm looking up this list of directors to get some. But what about Guillermo del Toro? He's a fine director, right? What is he working
Yes.
on?
He's always, the thing with him is that he's always assigned to like 4 projects all at once, and then I think they're like, hey, you need to make up your mind here.
Oh man, he's doing a stop motion Pinocchio? That's gonna be terrifying.
Yeah, that sounds accurate. He was attached to do a Vonnegut film a long time ago. He was also originally going to do the Hobbit movies.
Yeah. He would have done it so much better.
Maybe it would have been nice. I'm a huge fan of the Lord of the Rings by Peter Jackson, but I really feel like the Hobbit. I stopped watching the Hobbit movies halfway through the second one. When they're like 14 minutes into the barrels down the rapids thing, like I understand that movie. I understood turning that into 2 movies maybe, but that's like a 300-page book maybe. Like that doesn't need to be 3 movies. Like no, for sure it doesn't need to be 3 movies.
Yeah.
And I wasn't a huge. What's weird about The Lord of the Rings with me is I read The Hobbit when I was like 12, and I didn't like it very much. But that's all I had. That's all I knew about that series. Like in The Hobbit, all you learn about the ring in The Hobbit is that it turns you invisible.
Yeah.
That's it. So then, like 3 or 4 years later, when the first Lord of the Rings came out, the movie, I was like, wait, what? Like I didn't know. I feel dumb now, but I was like, wait a minute, this? Like the ring? That's like really important. That's the whole thing? That's what this thing is about?
This was about cock rings.
Yeah.
What's happening?
All you know about it in the book is that it's the thing he gets from Golem to like turn invisible so he can like escape the goblins or whatever or troll, whatever the fuck they are. But yeah, so Pan's Labyrinth is good. There were parts of it that are like a little over there, like when the.
I think Pan's Labyrinth is astounding.
There's parts with the bad guy where it's a little too over the top for me. Where it's like, I get it. When he like beats the guy's face in and then like kills a rabbit like all in like 10 seconds. Where it's like, I get it. He's the bad guy. Like.
Also, when talking about the best director, how much does bad films subtract from them? Because like you look at someone like Spielberg, who has made some real stinkers.
Yeah. But he's a good storyteller overall.
Let's see. I think he needs to get back to writing his things more.
Yeah, it's weird that and it's weird no one ever talks about how he wrote a lot, unless he was just ghosting, like using a ghost and then felt uncomfortable once he felt more comfortable being a director. But I don't think he was, because I remember talking. Did you ever watch that documentary about him on HBO?
No.
Well, he talks about, in Close Encounters, which I don't even think I've ever seen all of Close Encounters, but there's a scene where the kid is like yelling at their dad and like saying he's like a baby.
Yeah.
Like he like took that very much from his real life. Like I think his dad had like an emotional breakdown and was like crying in the bathtub or started crying somewhere, and he like yelled at his dad because he was like, you're crying, you're a baby, don't be such a baby. And that's like literally, that scene is like that same thing.
And also one time he was abducted by aliens.
Yeah, exactly. I just reread that Onion article where it's George Lucas being like, I think people forget that these films, that I really lived these films. And he goes into, and he like, it's funny because he's like mixes the real world being like, I took some creative liberties with the story. I didn't really fly an X-Wing. It was an A-Wing, which is different. Like,
that is funny.
Yeah. But, what was I going to say? Oh, I will say, it's weird also that, because I hate to it. Like Rob Reiner has directed some really, really good
Oh
movies.
yeah, like in the early '90s, late '80s, he had a string of amazing films.
Like Princess Bride is maybe one of my. But the weird thing is like I never talk about him being one of my favorite directors.
Yeah. Yes, and that Spinal Tap. I love
this
Tap
is Spinal Tap
so much.
Princess Bride, although like Spinal Tap is largely just, but I mean I guess there is something to be said for developing the talent and knowing who will be funny where and how to let people be funny.
Yeah.
But Princess Bride is, and also the other thing, Princess Bride, people like Truffaut tried to make Princess Bride, Robert Redford maybe, like really talented people tried to make Princess Bride and didn't do it. And then Rob Reiner, I just rewatched Princess Bride's probably the movie I've seen the most my entire life. I started watching it when I was 4. I still watch it now, and it's still really good. Like. You should read the book. It's really interesting to look at what's different and how they formatted things differently and where dialogue gets changed. And
here's somebody I wish wasn't a great director, Mel Gibson.
Yeah, he's good.
He's very, very. Why does every asshole have to be so damn talented?
Yeah. Especially like I've never watched all of Apocalypto. But
Apocalypto is an amazing film. Because there's almost no dialogue in it.
Yeah, and it's all in Mayan, right?
Yeah. Everything that's there, it's great visual storytelling.
Yeah.
And it's so impressive. But
yeah, You know what's nuts is he was going to. I don't know if this was like an apology letter in the form of a film. But he was gonna make a Maccabees movie, like Hanukkah.
Yeah.
And then the screenwriter recorded him getting yelled at by Mel Gibson, yelling. But the thing was, from a filmmaking standpoint, it seemed reasonable because it was if you're the director and you're supposed to get pages from the screenwriter and he's not answering your phone calls. For sure, yell it because the message on the voicemail is "Where are my pages? You're supposed to have work done." To me, that's somewhat reasonable, right? If you're getting dodged by a screenwriter, but the screenwriter was saying he would say weird things, being that guy's a Heb, right? Which is kind of a derogatory thing for for Jews.
Not a great thing to say.
Yeah. I'm not sure what the etymology of the word Heb is, but I know it's not Jewish.
What do you mean? You mean because it's short for Hebrew?
Is that what it's short for? Is Hebrew?
Yeah, I assume so.
Yeah, Heb is a Jewish website. Wait. Oh yeah, Heb, an abbreviation of Hebrew. I mean, I don't know. That's obvious. That's really obvious. I don't know why I didn't think of that right off the bat. But it looks like there's It looks like they're reclaiming it as there is a Jewish website aimed predominantly at Jews called Heb, but it's spelled Heeb as opposed to the slur that's Hebe.
I see.
Yeah, because it's all about. It's all about. I thought about this one where I was just why do people keep spelling things differently for their websites? And I'm oh, it's to own the copyright for a thing and branding. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was why does Fiverr need to be spelled like that? And I was oh, because all the other things that have Fiverr probably are owned. Because isn't Fiverr Fivrr or something like that?
What was that?
Isn't Fiverr? It's Fiverr.
Something like that. Yeah. There's 2 R's at the end. Yeah.
It's all right. But
boy, this has been quite a discussion.
Yeah, I'd say.
Well, that's
I do love old Tarantino though. Yeah, whatever his foot fetish thing.
Foot fetish aside.
He makes a fine film, that Tarantino.
He's. I have mixed feelings about Tarantino because he just uses. Because some of the dialogue is really good. Obviously, that's what he's known for, and then he just fuses other genres together with like good dialogue. Yeah.
Let's see. Wes Anderson, I really love his films.
Yeah.
But then there are some of them that I just get bored by, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Like Rushmore might be one of my favorite comedies of all time.
I remember when I first saw that, I wasn't huge on it. I feel like I need to go rewatch it. I'd like it a lot more now. Same thing when I saw Royal Tenenbaums, like right before I saw Royal Tenenbaums, we almost got in a really like a car crash on the interstate on the way to Des Moines. And so like it was one of those things where like there was a car in front of us that was carrying either jet skis or four-wheelers and it was a small car and it had a trailer that was carrying either jet skis or like four-wheelers or something. And they got clipped in front of them by a semi-truck. And so they did like kind of a weird like spin out sort of thing in front of us, and we had to like slam on our brakes and like veer off to the right, and then it was one of those things where it was like it was kind of nuts because it like blocked traffic for like a long ways. And so it was like, I turned to my left, and it's just like all lights because it's just held up. And then I look to my right, and it's just like nothingness because there was no cars for miles because we were holding them up. But that put me in a real weird mood going into it. And so then it wasn't until later that I went back and watched it and liked it.
Oh yeah, it's a great film.
I will say, and I need to rewatch Bottle Rocket, but I don't think Bottle Rocket's very good.
Yeah, I don't care for Bottle Rocket.
Yeah.
That's one of the ones of his I don't like.
Yeah.
I don't care that much for Darjeeling Limited.
I remember thinking that was okay.
But like Royal Tenenbaums, Rushmore, Steve Zissou, I even really like.
Steve Zissou's fun.
And I don't know. There's just some directors who. I love how every best director list has Francis Ford Coppola on it, and I'm like, but he's made some really shitty movies. Like,
wait, the director of Jack? What else has he done aside from the movie Jack with Robin Williams and Bill Cosby and Peggy Sue Got Married? You know that time travel movie everyone loves, Peggy Sue Got Married.
But those movies he's made that are good are really good. It's like,
oh yeah.
Does that just get him in there regardless of what shit he pulls together?
I mean, Godfather 1 and 2 are so good. Apocalypse Now is good.
It's an amazing film.
I'm sure that my brain's not letting me think of other ones that I like. The Dracula is okay. I like that he did a lot of he did all practical effects for Dracula, supposedly. Like, everything was either practical or, like, in camera. It wasn't any, like, digital stuff.
Yeah, he didn't have any effects where they're like, this is completely impractical.
Yeah.
We can't do this.
I've never seen The Conversation. I've never seen The Great Gatsby that he did. I've never seen Patton. He did The Outsiders? Patton, like General Patton.
Yeah, he made it with George C. Scott.
Yes.
As Patton.
Yeah, I don't ever think I ever saw that. I didn't realize he did The Outsiders. I've heard Rumblefish was good. I haven't. That's also by the same. That's the same author as The Outsiders.
All right. Well, how about the Coen Brothers? Are you a Coen Brothers fan?
Yeah, but not as. In fact, Hail Caesar I'm liking more and more whenever I watch it.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good film. Very funny. I just watched Inside Llewyn Davis. And I thought that was amazing.
I haven't seen that one, but I
thought it was absolutely amazing. Just probably my favorite of their recent.
Is that Adam Driver?
Yeah, 1 and 2.
Oh no, I'm thinking of something else. But who is that guy?
It's Poe Dameron.
Oh, it is? It's Oscar Isaac?
Yeah, Oscar Isaacs.
Or whatever. Yeah.
Is Llewyn Davis.
Yeah, I'm looking at. Did you ever go to Disney World and see Captain EO when Michael Jackson was before they decided not to have Michael Jackson anymore?
No, I did not.
Oh man, Captain EO. God, how long did they have that? But Coppola apparently directed that. It was like a 3D. So, Mike, are you familiar with Captain EO?
Kind of.
So
yeah.
the premise is it's a 7. Here I'm just reading but I've seen it a couple times. But like Michael Jackson, I'll read what the Wikipedia says it is, but I'll give you what I remember it being first. Is Michael Jackson essentially is the captain of a ship, Captain EO, and a motley crew of weird space aliens, and then I don't know what happens. I can't even remember, but it's 17 minutes long. It says 17-minute space fantasy for Disney theme parks, executive produced by George Lucas, starring singer Michael Jackson. But they must have gotten rid of that.
I was probably there when
days.
they had it. We just didn't go to that one. I don't know. I remember the Epcot Center with all the fancy technology.
Yeah.
And I remember the Sword in the Stone, which you could try to pull out.
Yeah. Oh, really? That was like a promotional thing, though, wasn't it? When didn't someone finally get to pull it out, or no?
No, I think it set up so like every millionth hole some kid gets it or something.
So
let's see. I remember the Dumbo ride, the famous the Dumbo up and down ride.
Yeah, that's still there. I think.
Let's see. What I really remember, I probably liked Universal more at that time in my life. The Universal Studios.
Oh, Universal. Yeah, Universal's great.
Where they had I remember the Terminator 3D show.
Oh, wow. That was short-lived. That wasn't there for very long. I saw that once, and then
the Jaws ride.
I don't think that's there either. Yeah, Jaws ride was fun.
And then the Men in Black ride where you get to shoot a bunch.
That's fun. I'm gonna guess you went there around 2006-ish.
Let's see.
That's my guess.
No, it probably would have been a little earlier.
A little earlier? Okay.
You're in the ballpark.
Because, I loved I remember being really sad when they replaced the Back to the Future ride with the Simpsons. Like, I don't even know if I've ridden it as the Simpsons ride since then. I remember I tried to, 2 years ago, was because they still had one in Japan, okay? Up until 2 years ago. Oh boy. The Padres hit a 2-run homer. But anyway, so, I remember sending out things to, like, publishing, to, like, newspapers and website things to be like, I want to do this story on, like, the last days of this thing. Because all the other ones had closed for, like, a decade, probably.
Right.
But, and like, because it had a lot of things to it where, like, I hadn't been on a plane in decades, or, like, over a decade, and I'm scared of it. And then my friend that was, a foreign exchange student friend from Japan was like 20 or 30 minutes away, so I would get to see him for the first time, and like just all these things that I thought were like kind of interesting, like multiple layers to this story being interesting. And literally all I wanted was like, just please pay for my ticket to go there and do this. Like, that's all I really wanted.
Number 52.
But no one got back to me. But anyway, so I didn't get to see it. But I loved, that was one of my favorite things, is the Back to the Future ride. But did you ever do that, or was it already Simpsons when you went there?
I don't remember either of those options.
Really? Oh, man.
I had been there, just didn't get around to them that day. I don't know.
It's one where it's in a car that's on, like, hydraulics and there's kind of bumps around. It's like Star Tours, kind of. Did you ever do Star Tours?
No.
Really? Star Tours is still there, I think, at MGM. Or is MGM even called MGM now, or does it have a different name? I feel like one of those places got named something different.
For some reason, I have a really vivid memory of the glass shop at Disney, where like the people are making miniatures out of glass.
That's at like a weird, like that's not even really a park. That's like the what's that called? That's at like the Disney shopping type thing. I don't even know if that exists. Oh God, what's that called? Hold on, now I used to have a dolphin from them.
Yeah, and that stuff looks great. I mean, it's cool. It's cool just making these little animals out of glass. That's and you can see them.
Yeah, they got windows, which is kind of I always thought was really cool, but like thinking about it now, like being the artist must feel a little strange, you know.
Oh man, we should get together the gang and go to do a trip up to the Mall of America.
I would love to. I love the Mall of America. I would 100% do that.
It's now Nickelodeon. I miss when it was Camp Snoopy.
Yeah, Camp Snoopy was great. Now it's what bullshit is it now?
It's like Nickelodeon now, so it's like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and stuff.
But I loved Camp Snoopy. I liked the tree, the kite-eating tree where you do the swing. Also, there used to have. I'm really sad because they used to have an awesome laser tag thing there that they don't have anymore. That's what's sad. There is like there's so many vacant areas there now. Like that used to be like packed. Like every store used to be packed there, you know, or like every store would have there weren't any vacancies in the leasing, you know.
Yeah.
Now I'd say like.
I remember the time where it was like, do I want to go to the video game / toy store on this side of the mall?
Exactly.
Or the video game / toy store a mile away on the other side of the mall?
Because there was an arcade. I don't even know if there's an arcade now, or well, there is, but it's like there's like a Dave and Buster's or like a Twin. You know what I mean? Like where it's inside of something else.
Yeah,
but there used to be a thing that was specifically an arcade that also had a laser tag thing, and then it had a UFO like thing that came out, like an overhang that would like light up and come out.
Yeah.
That was cool. They also had a literal. Man, I can't find my. I'm kind of mad that I can't find my old style. Because there was a tie-dye shirt store, and I know that maybe sounds dumb, but they had tie-dye of like every topic you could possibly think of that existed had the tie-dye shirt for it. And I had a Chewbacca one that I really liked, but I don't know where it's at now.
What one's the count?
But
that'd be fun.
Yeah, no, I would.
Also, it's even better now because IKEA is like across the street from it.
Yeah, so you can go get a table or something.
IKEA is great.
They also have. I don't know if they got rid of the movie theaters, but there's also a comedy club there. But the movie theaters, that's where the first time where I went to. I saw one of the last Harry Potters there.
Oh.
But it was in, they have the movie. Like I said, I don't know if they got rid of all the movie theaters there or at least some of them. But it was the first time I went to, and the only reason I went, I felt bad was the first time I went to a place really where it had like the adult movie theater where it was like you could order like food and drinks and stuff.
Yeah.
But it was like I felt bad because I didn't really. It was just the time fit for that one better. And so, like, I had to wait. I think I bought, like, a water or a Coke or something, but I was just like, I'm just here to kill time in between the things. Are you a big Legos guy? Because that's always crazy.
Oh, yeah.
So you love that. Great. They always have, like, a giant, like a transformer that's literally, like, 40 feet tall or whatever.
Your attention, please.
It's just fun. It's just a fun place to wallow in the fun of capitalism.
Yeah. And also, like I said, now that it's like vacant-ish, I think the last thing I bought there was a North Stars shirt, which was the hockey team. The Minnesota Wild was the North Stars until like whenever they became the Dallas Stars, which was probably like in the 80s or something. But the North Stars shirts and jerseys are like the most. They're like, it's like green and yellow. It's like the most beautiful. It's like ugly beautiful. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like I really like the look of it. But I bought like a shirt there that looks retro. It's one of those things where they can tell they're like, we want. Do you want people to think you bought this 30 years ago? Well, it's heathered, so it looks old. Like I don't know. But I'm trying to think of what else is there. I did apply. They have writer fellowships there. And there was once I applied for there because it was something where you got essentially. I think it was like a screen that like displayed what you were writing. And so like, and I think every day, like I think it was like you got paid a couple $1,000s for the week, and you got a hotel room, and then you got like essentially hundreds of dollars worth of gift certificates that you could just spend anywhere in the mall. So it was a really cool thing. I was really sad that I didn't get it, but I thought it would have been fun.
0-2 is the count.
There's all sorts of
man.
writer fellowships.
Have you seen these commercials for Dr. Squatch soap?
Yes, I don't like it.
They're so stupid.
Yeah, the thing is, I like the product is cool. I don't like how they're marketing it to me.
They're looking at an ad right now that's like, there's nothing sexier than a man with good hygiene.
I almost bought some Dr.
Squatch.
Squatch.
Better get that soap.
Yeah.
I want to get laid.
Yeah.
It's so stupid.
Yeah, I don't like it.
That soap should make you sterile.
Yeah.
So that whoever is dumb enough to fall for that advertising is removed from the gene pool.
There was another one that I've almost ordered where they're like, what do you, like, it was like asking you things that I was like, I don't need to smell like whiskey. I already smell like whiskey. Like, why would you give me a whiskey soap? I use soap to make myself not smell like the whiskey, you know? But, I like neem soap from India. Like Margot. Are you familiar with neem?
Not really.
It's essentially what I read about. It's basically, you know how like they call it Indian castor oil because you know how castor oil used to be a cure-all like 100 years ago. Like grandmas would always be like, drink castor oil. Basically, that's what neem is in India, where like it's like people use it for so many things. But I like it as a soap. But I also love pine tar soap though too. It makes me think of you've been on Splash Mountain, I assume, right?
Maybe.
Oh man, you didn't go see Splash Mountain when you were in Disney?
I don't know.
Here's the thing.
I don't have a memory of it.
Here's the thing about Disney is that my family got really good at knowing what was like, because I could understand when if you don't know what you're doing and or don't have the funds to go to Disney and do it right, then I can totally understand people being like, this was a waste of, like, you know what I mean? Like, if you just got the basic package of, like, getting tickets, but you don't know what you're doing, I could easily see it being a waste. But if you know where to go and when to go, because especially if you go in, like, October or, like November, when it's like 70 to 80 degrees there, but, like, there's no one there.
Whoa, that's inside.
That's like the best time to go because you don't have to wait. You don't have to wait for things. Like you can, and it's still, and especially for like Midwest, like people that are there consider it cold. You know, like not hot, but like if you're from the Midwest, it's like the perfect weather. And like because we knew stuff where it was like because they opened sections of the park at different times. Or at least they used to. So, like, we used to know how you could, like, get to Splash Mountain. Like, there would be, like, shortcuts you could take through, like, the entrance of a shop, and then the exit of that shop would put you, like, a block or two ahead of anyone else, where you could, like, ride Splash Mountain once, and then be done and be able to, like, barely have to wait a second time. Like, that sort of thing. Or did you ride Space Mountain?
I don't remember.
The one that it's the roller coaster that's in the dark for the most part.
Maybe.
I've had I don't want to say pleasure because it's not, but I've had it when they've been doing maintenance, and so I've ridden it when the lights are on. When you know what's coming from that roller coaster, it totally takes away like 80% of the thrill, because you're like, because in the dark you don't, it drops out of, you know what I mean? Like the surprise of it is the big part of it.
Right.
And also it's really cool because when you take off, it puts you in like very much like a 2001 Space Odyssey type thing with the like it's like you're in a tunnel and like literally.
You see yourself as an old man.
Yes, and then you see yourself as an old man in some sort of zoo. For Alien, is that what that was supposed to be? Is it like he's in his like very much like Slaughterhouse 5 type thing, right? Isn't he in like an alien zoo?
It could be. I mean, there's ways to interpret what's happening there.
Yeah, I think Space Odyssey and this is, I know this is a controversial opinion, but I don't think it's that good. There's times when I'm like, I understand. I'm like, I get it. Space is big and it takes a while to get places. Like, you don't need to drag this out like that. I understand why you're doing it, but stop. Please stop. You know what I think is one of the most underrated Kubrick movies, and is maybe my favorite.
The film of the Illuminati killing him?
No.
The first baseman, number
Although that's an
34.
interesting theory too. Is do you have a favorite Kubrick movie?
Probably Shining.
Okay. The fact that I can't even think of the name of the movie that I tell you, my memory's been fucking going lately, and I don't like it. But
Barry, whatever.
yes, Barry Lyndon. That's what it is.
No, it's Baron Zemo, the Marvel character.
Barry Zemo.
Baron Zemo.
Yes, from the Civil War. Marvel.
Yes, from Civil War.
Yes.
And the
No.
upcoming Falcon and the Winter
Gone.
Soldier.
Oh, he's gonna be in that?
Yeah, he's like the main villain of that.
I thought he killed him, or does he? Oh, he gets arrested, doesn't he?
Yeah, he gets arrested.
Because Black Panther won't let him kill himself or whatever. Anthony Rizzo hits a home run. Time for the donger alarm. Woo!
I need to rewatch Civil War. It's not great.
You know what? Rewatch what?
Civil War.
I think it's way overrated. I think people like it just because stuff happens in it,
Yeah.
as opposed
it's
to
not
it
great.
actually being good.
And from a movie standpoint, from like a storytelling standpoint, it's weird because Black Panther is the only one with an arc in that movie.
Yeah, kinda, isn't it? Like,
Nobody else learns any lessons. They all just believe what they believed at the beginning of the movie. But Black Panther learns that like vengeance is wrong.
well, but also I will say it is about it's the arc is the opposite, where the schism starts, where it's about the schism itself. So it's almost the opposite, where it's not learning new things. It's that beginning of them not getting along more and more until they're like at odds for sure.
I would love a show that.
Oh, Kyle Schwarber! Sorry, Kyle Schwarber just knocked a donger to tie up the game. So it's the 8th inning. Kyle Schwarber hits a 441-foot home run. Woo!
They should do a comic series that's just the day-to-day life of the Avengers, like none of their crime-fighting, world-saving stuff.
Well,
but just like them living together in that tower.
Well, have you read the Visions?
That's not at all what I'm talking about.
Okay. But that's similar, but it's similar in that I love that the thing that's not about, like, the only time, like, the, what's the word I'm looking for?
It's not about any crime fighting.
Yeah, or like when it is, it's like the end part or like the middle where he's just like getting called on the phone and be like, I'm fighting Galactus right now. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Where it's such the not having to do that. That's kind of why I'm excited for WandaVision, because I feel like that'll be like spliced into it somewhat, is what it seems like for that show.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's kind of what it seems like they're almost gonna do, but also make it weirder. I don't know. But sorry, continue.
I doubt that'll be the case. I think they'll just pay lip service to it with a small reference, and it'll be completely different.
I mean, do you know who's writing it? Do you know who's in charge of it?
I do not.
Okay. Let's see.
If
it's Scott Buck, I'm gonna fucking kill somebody.
What?
If it's Scott Buck, I'm gonna fucking. Is that his name? The guy who the showrunner of Dexter and then the Defenders and fucking what's the kung fu guy from the Defenders? Iron Fist. That guy.
And I do not see his name anywhere on.
Good. I can't believe that dude. But Kat Dennings is. I'm assuming that she's going to reprise her role in WandaVision. I do have a crush on Kat Dennings.
No, you're thinking of the comedian.
Yes, Kat Dennings Williams. Kat Dennings Williams.
Cat Williams.
You know, I remember before I watched this was before I really liked stand-up very much. Oh, Jason Hayward, did he just hit a home run? Someone just hit a home run. Javier Baez, I think, hit a home run, so I need to do the donger light again. Oh, woo. So the Cubs take the lead, I think. Woo, 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 woo. But have you watched Cat Williams stand up?
I've seen some of it.
I remember not wanting to watch it, and then, this is when I used to smoke a lot of pot, and then I remember watching it and laughing a lot, and I remember him talking about DMX when just being like, DMX being like, why are you yelling? Where he was just like, they're talking about like DMX, he was like, DMX is shorter than I am. Like, what is this guy's deal where he's yelling all the time? But, sorry, continue.
I'm looking up the thing. I was thinking about, like, every once in a while I see these ads for, like, Game of Thrones video games, and I'm just like, you don't realize how poisoned this franchise is now. Like, if you think that you could sell me on this.
Yeah, I mean, are there real actual, or is it like bullshit is it just mobile bullshit, or is there
are a lot of games for it that are, I don't know what you want to call a real game, but not mobile games.
Yeah, I've never heard anyone talk about how good the Game of Thrones game is, I'll say that.
Yeah.
So, that should say something.
That was something I was thinking about the other day, where like, in America, all of, like, the tie-in, media that they make for whatever, video games for movies and all that. Like, it's almost always just terrible, right?
It can
Slapped
be.
together and terrible.
I will say,
in Japan, anime that is not terrible. It's often really, really good.
Because it's more high. Yeah, that's fair.
Like one of my favorite anime of recent years is based on a mobile game.
Oh, you're saying, okay, they go the other, so you're saying they base anime off of games?
Yes.
Interesting.
Off of, yes.
I mean, I guess we do that here. I guess we do that off of stuff too, but.
Yeah, if it's popular enough, you make a thing off
Oh
it.
my goodness! Might be another home run, or, oh no, it's caught. I will say, I know it's this game based off a movie, but the Shadows of Mordor, the two newer Lord of the Rings games are fucking really fun. Like the Shadows of Mordor. Did you ever play that?
Yeah, those are fine.
Yeah, I mean, there's a solid 40 to 80 hours of like gameplay and leveling up and yeah, I don't know, it's enjoyable. I don't know. The combat system's fun and has the power ups are interesting, and you do more and more combos and.
I mean, yes, it's Arkham combat.
I was just gonna say I haven't played much of the Batman things, but it seems similar to the Arkham stuff.
It's not similar.
It is?
Arkham.
Okay.
It is a copy of the Arkham combat.
Okay,
yes.
Like the same company and engine too, or
no?
Okay,
like they stole.
They
the
just
idea.
stole. Okay, I'm fine with that.
That's the thing video games do, though. Like,
yeah.
If a video game comes up with a new style of play,
Oh.
other people just, like, they can't patent that or something, or like the law just isn't there, so other games will just take it. Like, for a long time, any first-person shooter was called a Doom clone.
Yeah.
Because Doom was the first game that really popularized that. It wasn't the first first-person shooter.
Well, it's like how did you ever watch the Marin show? When it's like when people were trying to sue other people over like saying podcast is somehow in and of itself an intellectual property, like, which I understand kind of because like someone had to invent it, but that's like saying like that other people can't write songs, you know, like to me, I don't know, it's an interesting, especially in games because it's like. Nintendo always gets I mean, you get copyrights for stuff, and or you get patents for specific things, but there's always little workarounds for that.
I remember one time I got a copyright claim on one of my videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
Because I used this song, and I wrote back, this song, number one, the song itself is old enough to be in the public domain.
Yes, but the recording.
But it's being played by the U.S. Navy band.
Yeah.
And any work of a government employee is public domain.
Oh, really? Okay.
So they cannot claim this.
Okay.
But that's just the thing is there's these bots that just have everything and claim rename everything.
Because that's because that definitely is a thing I've heard of. Because that happened where for the Beatles they have, I think it's the song "In the Mood" maybe, or something like that, where it was like the song itself was a public domain thing, but they used an arrangement or a recording that was like specifically by someone, and that's when it's like if you're using their recording, then that's their recording. And so it's funny that how that is a thing where something can be in the public domain, but also you can't use someone's specific recording of it, or else they could possibly sue you, or just cease and desist, tell you can't use my version, my interpretation of that thing that already exists.
I wonder. Let's see. Yeah, I wonder if Disney will fail to extend the copyright again here in the coming years.
They always,
Mickey Mouse is close to being public domain.
I always have mixed feelings about that because I understand why. Because like if you invented something that was a global phenomenon that you were able to like, and it was near and dear to your heart, wouldn't you want to be able to decide who controls that for in perpetuity?
I might want that, but I don't care about that.
Okay.
I don't think I'm okay with wills.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I think fuck whatever the dead wanted. They're dead. They're no longer in the land of the living. That's why I say wills are okay, just to keep living people from fighting over things.
Yeah. But
beyond that,
so you don't think they should have validity? But that's the point of a will, is that you know it'll have validity when you're dead. Like I will say, because
I'm okay with that, but
home run! It looks like we have a tie game in the 8th now. Because who was it who just hit it? Tommy Pham just hit a home run. He flim-fammed that one. I don't know. Anyway, I will say things like, because Orson Welles, before he died, one of the last things he said was, "Don't let Ted Turner put his crayons to my masterpiece." And it was one of those things where I think Orson Welles still, like, even though he's dead, he still, I think, owned the rights to the film. So he did something weird where even in death he would own it. So basically you couldn't do a lot with it. I don't know how it stands now. But like that's a case where like I don't want Citizen Kane to get a colorized version.
I'm fine with that.
But that's when it was made, like the black and white thing is very specific to a lot of choices.
Yeah, I wouldn't watch it.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean I'm not okay with it existing.
Or like It's a Wonderful Life. Are you like, wow, look at those colors? Like
once again, I wouldn't like the color. I don't like the colored version of It's a Wonderful Life.
Okay.
And I love that movie, but I'm okay with it existing.
All right.
I'm not an asshole who thinks that something can't exist just because it doesn't meet my standards.
But one of my issues is that idiots don't know why they shouldn't watch it. So I feel like it's saving themselves from it.
Inferior experience because they're idiots.
Yeah, but they wouldn't know. But I feel like it's like protecting people from themselves, because they're just like, why wouldn't I? It's like how I used to not like Letterboxd when I was little, or like my roommate used to be all like, what's with these fucking lines on the TV? And I'm like, well, it's so you can see the whole image that you're meant to see. And they're like, what's the point of having a 32-inch television if I only get 28 inches? Like, that's like how people think.
Yeah, but none of that has to do with what we were talking about with the copyright law, because Disney will release whatever, even if idiots like it, and it's terrible.
Yeah,
they're not protected just because they own it for longer doesn't mean that they're going to protect the sanctity of it.
Yeah, well, in a similar fashion, I will say I agree with, like when sometimes when a film gets remade in English, and I know it's going to be bad, or like when American remake, I almost am okay with it, because I'm like, well, at least it'll make more people aware of the original, if that makes sense. Like,
I'd say if I was like a creator of something, I would totally put in my will, all my works are now in the public domain.
yeah, and that's cool, especially if that's your wish. If that's your wish, for sure.
Just to keep a Disney situation from it. Like,
so that they won't buy it up, you mean?
No, yeah, that too. No, because to keep them from, because they keep extending the copyright.
Yeah.
Things longer and longer. It's
Yeah.
like, no. In general, I don't like the people benefiting off of people they never met.
Sure. I get that for sure. But
It's like if you want your kids and your grandkids and maybe even your great-grandkids to be fine, that's okay.
Yeah.
But if in 200 years your descendants are worthless pieces of shit who don't do anything,
Yeah.
I'm not as okay with that.
I have mixed. I don't know. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Did you ever see Escape from Tomorrowland?
I did not.
Are you familiar with, or is it called Escape from Tomorrow? It's something like that. But are you familiar?
I know Escape from Witch Mountain.
No, it's this movie they filmed. It's not great, but it's like it was marketed well because they filmed the whole thing. It's this weird like sci-fi-ish type movie, and they filmed it at Disney without Disney's permission because it was one of those things. It was probably about 8 years ago because you know how cameras now, it's like the difference between amateur and professional cameras, like the lines were starting to blur, you know. So they made it. And I think they made they made like the crew like shave and look more like regular people so that they wouldn't draw attention to themselves. And a lot of times they would like have the actors like have tablets and stuff like that, like read off the like. But so basically they recorded a film and they were doing it somewhat discreetly, but at Disney places.
Yeah, guerrilla filmmaking.
Yes, it was guerrilla filmmaking, but it was very much at Disney places. And they do weird stuff where there's like, where they have a bunch of Disney princesses. Basically, they make it appear as though a bunch of Japanese businessmen are buying the Disney princesses for like as sex workers in it, and like just weird. It's worth a watch just because of its. Just because of what it did.
The end of the Florida project is a scene that was clearly not filmed with the cooperation of Disney.
Yeah.
It just like suddenly and shockingly the camera quality gets worse.
Yeah.
And then they're just running through Disney, and
Yeah.
people are like looking at them like, wait, what are you?
What's
doing
happening?
here?
Yeah. The thing with Escape from Tomorrow that was ingenious is that Disney, I think the Disney legal team was like, realized that if they made a deal about, if they made a fuss over it, that it would make it a story. You know what I mean? So, because you didn't know about it, right?
I guess.
But don't you think if Disney would have tried to shut down an indie film that like.
Probably.
It's one of those things where it was almost ingenious of Disney not to make a stink about it was because then there wasn't a story as much as there was. Because if Disney would have tried to be like, you can't, because there's a whole big thing, because you know that the spaceship Earth is like, that thing is brought to you by Siemens, like the company Siemens, you know?
Yeah.
And so
I know all about Siemens.
Yeah, I know. They make a joke that's essentially that, where the guy gets kidnapped and gets put in Spaceship Earth, and they do weird shit, like, but he's like, just watch it. It's, like I said, it's not, it's one of those things where it's only good because the idea of the making of it's good, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, you respect the ingenious of low-key filming the movie at Disney, but it's not very good overall. Like, the actors aren't great. They're fine, but they're not great. And the story is kind of meh. I don't know.
Yeah, it's unfortunate when you hear stories from Disney, from workers, where it's like a cult in there.
Yeah.
So it takes away a little bit from the fun.
Yeah, did you ever hear there was a guy who had a YouTube thing where it was like, I don't know if they're still up, but he had stories from working at Disney. And there was some pretty funny stuff, because he used to talk about, too, about how one of you, because you know how they live on, like, there's, like, complexes for Disney, people that work at Disney, you know?
Yeah.
And he was talking about how there was one that was, like, nicer than all the others, that you have to, it's like a gated community one, that, like, getting invited to it's like a big deal. I can't remember what it was called, but he talks about that. I also had heard that what was I say? Oh, that like when they tweak which would be horrifying but fun, is like when they tweak the rides, it's like employees get to be like the guinea pigs. So could you imagine being on like the Tower of Terror when it was like turned up a little bit much? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where they would be like, that was too much. Can you imagine being like, that was too much? I was out of my seat for too long there. Please turn that down.
Yeah, that would be pretty scary.
I wonder what kind of waivers they make you sign to do that. But
yeah, I mean, yeah, you gotta, I don't know, I guess a lot of the people who go so far in SeaWorld are, like, fanatics.
oh yeah,
Like, they
sure.
very want to do that.
Yes, for sure.
It's kind of a mixed bag.
Are you in the car now or something?
The first baseman,
Yes,
number
I am.
44.
Okay. I'll let you go because the Cubs are about to lose, but I'll let you go. By the way, I'm running trivia tonight, if you're interested, at 8 o'clock on my stream. If not, that's fine too. I might even send you the slides to see what you think of it. But Anthony Rizzo's coming up to probably lose the game. But Gerald, thank you very much as always for being with us.
Okay.
Take care. Well, the Cubs are about to lose again after coming back again and then losing to come back again. Anthony Rizzo's up. We want to know. Someone goes, boo! Boo! Have I eaten today yet? I'm looking to see if I remember. I had to pee really badly, so I'm not sure what I want to happen. I mean, I want the Cubs to win, obviously, but... Ooh! He wanted that one. That one he wanted. I did the Yoda speak. That one he wanted. Oh, ho, ho, ho! That was a close one. By the way, if anyone commented, I had to restart the thing here recently. There will be trivia tonight on here in about 3 hours. 2 hours and 50 minutes. 8 o'clock. Strike 3, that's the game. Bud Rutgers. I don't even want to see who the player of the game is. The Cubs lost. Juan Lagares, he started off the game with a home run. It might even be the first pitch of the game. Hit 2 hits. 2 for 3 with a home run, an RBI, and 2 runs. Kirby Yates with the save, 3 strikeouts. Alec Mills with the loss. He only pitched 1/3 of an inning, gave up 2 hits, had 1 strikeout, 2 earned runs. Somebody just joined us. Just signed us. Yeah, this is the Elfback. Troy, are you going to do trivia tonight? There's going to be a starting lineup, statuette figure in the box. Is going to be for first place probably. 1 of 3 choices. There's 2 baseball players and 1 hockey player. So, starting lineup. You don't remember starting lineup figurines? But trivia is tonight at 8 o'clock. What do you mean, huh? I'm confused on what you're confused about. Oh. Hold on. Like, the winner of trivia will get a starting lineup figurine. Is all I was saying. So, and they'll get your choice. Only one of them is a really famous a player who is really famous. And none of them are worth a bunch of money. Like, one of them's worth maybe a little bit of money, but not enough where I'm not gonna give it away. I think maybe one of them maybe is worth a little around $20, maybe a little less. Who's Quinn's favorite player? Probably Biggio. Craig Biggio is my guess. Has he had 3,000 hits for the I think for the Astros. So Yu Darvish pitched today, so it's not going to be him tomorrow against Chris Paddock. But Chris Paddock's good too. God, the Padres, you'd figure that their record, I mean, they're over 500, but you figured they'd be doing better. It's okay with the island of Dr. Moreau. There is not. I'm trying to think if there's any questions that could be related to Dr. Moreau at all, but there's not. I just like that picture. A lot of misdirection with my trivia stuff. But there is one category that's kind of for Lance. And the Cubs are a game and a half back. This is probably the farthest the Cubs have been back since I started doing it. Well, I'm trying to think if there's a Kilmer film. I won't say there's not. I can't think of if there is. I don't think there is. There is a category that is very much about a specific movie star. But I don't think. I'm trying to think if they overlapped ever really, and I don't. Not at the top of my head. Just gonna save this real quick. My video might cut out for a second, but my audio should remain. Only microphones being broadcast. So, wrongfully accused. Wouldn't you agree that Top Secret is one of the greatest movies ever? Top Secret's great. Wrongfully accused is not. Wrongfully accused is bad. I like Leslie Nielsen just as much as the next guy, probably more. But Wrongfully Accused is not good. Top Secret's fantastic. I really like Top Secret. And Real Genius is literally one of my favorite movies. Yeah, literally Genius is one of my favorite movies. 80s Val Kilmer is like who I would like to be. You never seen Real Genius? It's called Real Genius. If you like Top Secret, then you'll like Real Genius. Watch Real Genius. It used to be on Netflix and or Hulu. For sure, give that movie a look. Oh, for sure. Like I said, it's one of my... the bad guy from Ghostbusters is the bad guy in this. He plays the dean. The old dean. And then Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite is a scientist in it. Trying to think if there's anyone else that's really famous. But yeah, so come to trivia tonight. The EPA guy in Ghostbusters. You know, the guy who's trying to stop the small independent people that you have nuclear reactors that are running around. You know, the bad guy, the EPA. Walter Peck, I believe is his name. But he's the bad guy he's the dean in it. I wouldn't say bad guy, but kind of. He's the dean. But anyway, I have to pee really bad. I'm gonna go. Are you gonna? 8 o'clock is when we're gonna start. So be here for that, Troy. I think Quinn will be dethroned tonight, hopefully, or not hopefully, but I think more people are gonna come tonight because I actually was able to make a Facebook event and send a decent amount of invites. Well, I'll see you there then. Later.